Welcome back to Personal Finance. I'm Jim Munchback, and I'll be your facilitator today. It is 28 October, year of our Lord 2025. I can't imagine this year has gone so fast. And I want to welcome myself back from Lansing. I was away last week. And so, welcome back. We'll get started here in just a minute. We're going to talk about asset allocation a little bit more. I'm going to show you how to update your financial plan so that you have the opportunity to see how asset allocation will impact your portfolio and your financial situation over time. So, that's what we're going to talk about today in this lecture, in this lesson. And then you're going to do some homework where you're going to actually go and update your financial plan in RightCapital so that you have a couple of key components that will really help you when you get ready to do your capstone assignment, which is coming very soon. So we will spend some time talking about the capstone assignment, and you don't want to miss that. So let's start off by just letting you know that my neighbor's getting a new roof today. So this is early this morning. The sounds of a new roof, if you've never been next to a house that's getting a roof or inside of a house that's getting a roof, it's kind of loud. So if you hear some strange noises right now, that's what you're hearing is a crew of probably, there's got to be 15 dudes up there on that roof on the front and the back. So yeah, that's what's going on in my neighborhood. And there you have it. So that's just kind of a picture. I took a little time lapse. I've been practicing taking time lapse videos because they're fun and they're easy and they're more interesting than most of the video I take. So anyway, that's my neighborhood. That's my truck, my car, my street. And that's the sound you're hearing in the distance is that. So I also wanted to just give you kind of uh, a review, not a review, but just a preview, little highlights of my trip to Lansing, Michigan. I grew up in Lansing, Michigan, and this is me in the car with my two aunts. And we're driving from Louisville, Kentucky. I flew to Louisville. It's a nonstop flight, so that was cool. I flew to Louisville and drove with them. I actually drove for them. Not that they needed me to drive, but anyway, this is just a little piece of the road. And then here's a little bit of Lansing. Oh, I wanted to tell you guys. So I grew up in Lansing, Michigan, and you see these power lines and this trail right there. When I go to Lansing, unless it's just really snowy or rainy or whatever, I walk this trail pretty much every time I'm there, every day that I'm there. It's about a 7 mile walk from my house, my mom's house actually, to where this trail goes all the way around the city. And it's pretty cool because it goes right through my mom's yard. And it's based on these, or it's actually these power lines. So when I was a kid, when I was 15 years old, I bought a motorcycle, my first motorcycle. And I could get anywhere in Lansing, Michigan on this motorcycle just by going through these trails. These trails were all through the city, wherever there were power lines, there were these trails. And my dad let me ride those trails on the motorcycle as long as I got off the motorcycle and walked my motorcycle across the street because that would be more legal. Anyway, this is where I walk, and it's so crazy because when I walk, you can't really see it in this video, but I walk to where our old church was. You can almost see it in this video. If you look way down in the back, there's a church back there, and that's the church that uh, my mom and dad made me go to multiple times a week. And I'll never forget, every summer we would sit in church. We didn't have air conditioning, so I would sit right by the window, and I would look out that window while the preacher was preaching, and there would be kids riding mini bikes and motorcycles on that trail. And I dreamed when I was a little kid, I dreamed of uh, being on a motorcycle on that trail. And so I grew up and I ride motorcycles. But anyway, that's a little blast from the past. Speaking of blast from the past, let me just, looks like I'm having maybe a little trouble with my internet. I'm not sure. Hopefully, it's not stalling on your end. But this, this is bizarro. It may look bizarro, but I'll tell you what. When I went out for my first walk in Lansing, I saw these folks walking this dog, and it was like I told them, I said, "Man, this gives a whole new uh, definition to the idea of walking, taking the dog out for a walk." Because these police officers were walking this dog, and check out the weapons on these police officers. This is in my mom's neighborhood, so I've never been more thankful for the police. Apparently, there's one street in her neighborhood that is occupied by some criminals or criminal elements, and so they were out looking for this criminal on this particular day. They even asked me if I'd seen a woman wearing a hoodie, a gray hoodie, in the neighborhood. And I said, no. I told them where I walked and how I didn't see him. But check this out. They were kind enough to let me shoot a little video. That is Echo. The dog's name is Echo. And beautiful, beautiful animal, beautiful dog. And they were really cool people, and they had a whole team out there. So yeah, that was my trip to Lansing. It was quite fun. And that is a little blast from the past. I don't know about you, but I'm very grateful for the police. So, yeah. Okay, let's get started. We're going to talk about asset allocation. And in addition to asset allocation, one of the things that I want to just mention is you're going to you're going to do some work in your financial plan this week. Let me get here. This video is being posted to our playlist, uhplaylist.com. And there is a link in this video. Now, you're not able to see it at the moment in real time because this video has not yet been posted to that playlist because it's a live stream, and we're live streaming to YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, and X, maybe some other places too. But it will be in uhplaylist.com. So that's where you're going to want to go. And you're going to see in the description, you're going to see this post. And I want you to look for this post, hopefully. It's not working at the moment. What does that mean? Let me try something. Good night. I'm having technical difficulties. Well, okay, you're not seeing my iPad, but I promise you, what is that? I must have unplugged. Well, I don't know what to tell you. There's always something. So, yeah, I'm having a little trouble there. Let me see if I can get that to go. I apologize, but my iPad is on, but it's not working, and I don't know why. I probably unplugged the cable, but anyway, I promise you, there is going to be a link. By the time you're watching this, hopefully there is a link in the video that goes to this post. And it's basically the same thing that you'll see that you'll see in Canvas. And so, gosh, I wish I could show it to you because I'm looking at my iPad, and I wanted to just mention you're going to do a retirement calculator. Okay, so let me just talk about that for a minute because this is this week's class collaboration. So here you go. It is 10:10 a.m. and I'm going to share with you what this week's class collaboration is. This week, I'm going to ask you to do a retirement calculator. You can use any tool online you want to use. You could just Google retirement calculator, okay? Retirement calculator. Think about what you would do. What would it accomplish to spend a few minutes and do a retirement calculator? I mean, to me, it's very common sense, but for you, you've probably never done it. You don't need to do a retirement calculator because you have RightCapital and you're building out a financial plan this semester. And that financial plan has tremendous amount of information and detail related to your financial or to your retirement. That's a big part of financial planning, and that's what you've been learning this semester. So why are we going to spend any time doing a retirement calculator? Here's why. For one thing, I want you just to have a quick, easy way to compare what you have in your financial plan in RightCapital and what you're going to be building for your capstone assignment. I want you to have a comparison like, here's another tool that does the same thing. It does it very quickly. It does it with just a few basic inputs, like inputs. What inputs might you put into a retirement calculator? Your age, uh, how old you will be when you retire, how much money you make, how much money you're saving, how much money you want to take out when you retire. All of these are inputs. And it takes just a couple of minutes for you to complete a retirement calculator online. And that's what I want you to do because I want you to have the extra experience of creating a retirement calculator, which is like a mini retirement plan with all of the major inputs. And I think, I hope, I believe that in this assignment, in this week, you're going to have kind of some lights come on so that you can see the big picture of retirement planning for yourself. That's number one. That's the reason we're doing the retirement calculator. It's just simply an activity, an exercise, a small little piece of homework, if you will, for you to be able to compare what you have in RightCapital in your financial plan with this other tool. And like I said, there's a link in your assignment to a retirement calculator. But I don't care what tool you use. You can use any tool you want. It just needs to have those basic inputs that are part of a retirement calculator. And if you're not sure what that is, start with ChatGPT. GPT, I always get the T and the P backwards. Toilet paper, no. PT, ChatGPT. Thank you very much, or Google, whatever, just find what elements are part of a retirement calculator. And in fact, it'd be kind of cool if you used Chat GPT to do your retirement calculator. That'd be very interesting to see. I've never tried that, but I'm sure it would be as good or maybe better than another tool online. But they're all over the place, and you're going to do one this week if you want to get credit for this week's assignment. So you're going to do that, and you're just going to share. Now, that is, again, the class collaboration part of this is to tell me, why are you doing a retirement calculator? Why am I asking you to do a retirement calculator? What is the purpose of your retirement calculator this semester? And again, just so you know, that purpose is I want you to have another tool that gives you kind of a second opinion about your retirement plan. And I want you to get a quick, easy, fast mini retirement plan. So that's really it. I just want you to understand the big picture of retirement planning and understand how a retirement plan is calculated in a different method with a different tool outside of RightCapital, just to help you put it in perspective. So you can say that any way you want, but that's this week's class collaboration. It's the secret class collaboration that you need to comment on in Money Study Group. Or if you prefer, you can leave a comment here in YouTube or LinkedIn. Just make sure you grab a screenshot of you sharing what I just asked you to summarize about why you're doing a retirement calculator this week in personal finance. So that's your class collaboration. Okay, let's see. What else do we have? I'm looking. I did want you just to see that I do have on my iPad here. This is the post, just so you could see that. I don't know why it's not letting me show you here, but it's not. So anyway, sorry about that. We'll get back to what we have, the tools that are available. So let's start with, I wanted to do, I think I have this cool little movie I was going to play, but it's kind of just a screen show. So I want to review. This is a review for last week. I wasn't here last week, hopefully hopefully you learned a lot last week about investing. Now you were supposed to do some reading and you were supposed to do some studying, because what I taught last week in the 4 investment strategies that are designed to help you maximize returns and minimize risk, those strategies are going to be kind of worthless for you if you don't understand some basic elements of investing. And so, to start with, those 4 investment strategies that are designed to help you maximize returns and minimize risk, they're, I would say they're basic investment strategies, but that doesn't mean they're not super important. They are very important, especially for younger folks who are going to be investing for a number of years. So, the first strategy that we talked about was diversification. And again, if you haven't reviewed the story of Enron, I would encourage you to do that. Um, that there's so many reasons for you to be diversified. Uh, and diversification means having not all of your eggs in one basket. Today, right now, I'm a little concerned about. I wanted to show you on my iPad a few charts, but I can't do that because my iPad's dead. Well, my iPad's not dead, but the link, I think the cable, I don't know what. Anyway, I wanted to show you some charts, but I'm not going to be able to do that. But you could look up charts. If you don't know how to do that, you might want to figure out how to look up a chart. Look at a chart of any investment. Look at a chart of NVIDIA. That's a stock, NVIDIA. If you're not familiar with it, they make chips, and they make chips for AI, artificial intelligence, and it has gone up, 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 up. And I'm concerned because if you buy an investment, if you invest in an ETF, an exchange traded fund, if you don't know what that is, then you should go back and do a little bit more homework and review it. You should know what an exchange traded fund is by now, or even a mutual fund or an index fund. But if you invest in any of those, an index fund, a mutual fund, or an exchange traded fund that is related to the S&P 500, the S&P 500 is it is an investment that is made up of the 500 largest companies in the United States. The S&P Standard & Poor's 500, it's the 500 largest companies in the United States. It's called an index. And there are other indexes like the Dow, which is based on 30 different stocks, or the NASDAQ 100, which is 100 tech stocks, 100 of the largest tech stocks. So those are indexes. And I just want you to know, if you're investing in anything that's related to the S&P 500 index, a huge part of that index today is NVIDIA. And so if you invest in an ETF, an exchange traded fund, or mutual fund, or an index fund, you're purchasing shares of NVIDIA. And that's one of the reasons that NVIDIA keeps going up and up and up and up, because it's such a large percentage of the index. And why am I telling you that? Because you may think you're diversified. This is my concern. This is just me telling you what it seems to be going on in the world right now. We have this frenzy for artificial intelligence. And this one company in particular, NVIDIA, which we had that happen with Enron, and it was about energy, and it was a lot of very creative accounting, very creative money movement was happening inside of Enron. And I'm not making a prediction. I'm just telling you what keeps me awake at night, because I have a lot of clients with a lot of money, including myself, invested in the market. And NVIDIA is one of those companies that seems to me to be the kind of chart. If you look at their chart, you'll see what I mean. It goes up, up, up. It's the kind of chart that makes me think, what could possibly go wrong? So diversification is very important. If you're investing in anything in the S&P 500 right now, you're not as diversified as you used to be, but it is what it is. Just FYI, you should understand diversification. It's important. The second investment strategy that we talked about was I believe we talked about asset allocation second, and it is the most important determinant. Asset allocation is the most important determinant of your portfolio's returns. And so, what I need you to do, what I want you to do, what you should do for yourself is understand the difference between asset classes. I already talked about the S&P 500. Those are US large cap stocks. That's an asset class. And then there's small uh, company stocks. I'm getting messages on my screen. Sorry for the distraction. It's distracting me, probably not you. But so asset classes, large US stock, small cap, that's small startup stocks, international stocks, bonds, those are all different asset classes. And if you don't know what an asset class is, you should spend some time. If you want to be successful as an investor, you need to understand asset classes. So do a little review about that. Uh, and let me see, I think I've got another screen here, so you don't have to, yeah, it's not that different. But do some review about asset classes, because asset allocation is all based on asset classes. And if you don't understand what they are, it's just going to go over your head. But it is the most important. Asset allocation is the most important determinant of your portfolio's returns. So you want to understand it, you want to take advantage of it. Number three was dollar cost averaging. Hopefully, you got a lot out of the story of Farmer Joe buying cows, and the price of cows went up and down. Well, that's dollar cost averaging, and I believe it is the most powerful investment strategy available for younger people who are investing over time. Dollar cost averaging can help you grow your wealth. It helps you maximize your returns and minimize your risk. And all four of these investment strategies do exactly that. The fourth one was portfolio rebalancing. So I talked a little bit about NVIDIA, and I told you that a big part of the S&P 500 right now is because NVIDIA is it's a large percentage. I want to say it's 14% of the S&P 500. But if you combine NVIDIA, Microsoft, Apple, Google, and Amazon, it's 40% of the S&P 500. You can check my numbers. I don't claim to be completely accurate about the percentage, but it's a huge percentage of the S&P 500. So just think about it. If we had something happen where we lost our enthusiasm about AI, artificial intelligence, or we discovered that it's somehow not going to create the kind of wealth effect that we think it is with businesses using artificial intelligence. If something goes wrong, we have a perfect storm right now for everybody is in love with AI, including me. I think it's an amazing technology like the internet. But just remember, the internet created a bubble, and a lot of those companies had such high hopes that when the internet bubble busted, the market dropped a lot. And I just think that we're poised for something like that. And so the reason I'm saying that is because we're talking about investment strategies that are designed to help you maximize returns and minimize risk. Portfolio rebalancing is the fourth one on the list. And if you had a portfolio and you're going to do your own asset allocation this week, and let's just assume that you had 25% of your portfolio in four different asset classes. So one would be US large cap stocks, NVIDIA, S&P 500. That's 25% of your portfolio. Another 25% would be, let's just say, small cap stocks, little company stocks. startups, okay? And then let's say 1/4 of your portfolio is in international stocks. And then the fourth asset class, the fourth quadrant, or the fourth 1/4 of your portfolio is invested in bonds. Well, if you haven't noticed, because interest rates went up so high so quickly, the price of bonds is inverted. If interest rates go up, the value of your bonds goes down. That's something you might want to know. But if you didn't know that, now you do. If interest rates go up and you own bonds, the value of the bonds goes down. And if interest rates go up fast, the value of your bonds goes down, and it goes down fast. So if you have a portfolio that's in 4 different quadrants and one of them is bonds, and the bond value's way down and the S&P 500 value is way up, a good idea would be to rebalance your portfolio so that now, let's say that 25% of your portfolio 3 years ago was in the S&P 500, large US stocks. And that segment of your portfolio has skyrocketed. So now instead of being 25%, let's say it's 45%. But the value of your bonds dropped. So instead of it being 25%, let's just say it's 15%. Okay? Hopefully I'm not confusing you with the math. Math can be so confusing. But just think of it as a piece of pizza with 4 quadrants, and one piece of the pizza got really big and another piece of the pizza got really small. So you still have 4 pieces, but you have one small slice and one very large slice. Portfolio rebalancing is just making all 4 of those slices even again. So what happens is you would be taking profit from those stocks that went up, the large cap, and you would buy more of the ones that went down. So just think of Farmer Joe and how it worked buying cows. Portfolio rebalancing is a lot like dollar cost averaging, except it's just something you do over time. You rebalance your portfolio. I would say you should do it every quarter, every 6 months, maybe every year, but it should be done on a regular basis. So that's portfolio rebalancing. So diversification, asset allocation, dollar cost averaging, and portfolio rebalancing. All of it is based on asset classes. So if you don't understand asset classes, you should do that. You should spend a little time and get to know that. Get to know more about asset allocation. Okay, let's see. I am going to talk a little bit about your capstone because the uh, one of the things you're going to do, you should have already. I got an email from a student this week, not sure how to change. They're asking me about making themselves 10 years older. And I was like, seriously? That was like, I talked about that in like week 4. So anyway, I suggested to this student they may want to check in with GroupMe and ask that question. That's what I do if you ask me a question by email that I've already covered, and I was puzzled by that question. So hopefully you got your question answered if you're the student who was asking about that. But that was something you did a few weeks ago, is change your age in RightCapital. And again, the reason we did that is so that you could have the perspective of having graduated, and we instructed you to go out and buy a house. You were supposed to do some research to figure out if you graduated and if you got the job that you hope to get in your field. You were supposed to do some research and figure out how much money would you make. And then we did take your financial plan and adapt it as if you were 10 years older and you're already graduated and you're earning that money that you would make if you had that dream job that you wanted. And from there, I told you you had to go get in debt. You had to buy a car. you had to spend 10 grand at least with a credit card and then do a little research to figure out what's the interest rate on those things. And then also you had to buy a house. Like you had to figure out if you were going to buy a house and you were earning this much money, how much house could you afford? How much house should you afford? What kind of mortgage were you going to get? You did all that. And most of you did an awesome job with that, but apparently some of you, a couple of you maybe just are a little behind. Uh, Good luck if you're behind at this point and you haven't done that. But this week is a little different. I'm going to ask you to show me that in your financial plan, not only are you 10 years older, but you've been investing in your 401k for 10 years. And yet you've probably already done that. Many of you have already demonstrated with your 401k that you have contributions for 10 years. So you came up with a number and you changed the balance in your 401k based on the idea that you've been contributing to it for 10 years because you're 10 years older. And most of you already know that you based that contribution in your 401k on the amount of matching funds that you received from your employer. So if you pretended that you had a job at Shell, then you pretended you were getting the benefit of the company match from Shell, which is all information you can find by doing a quick Google search. But anyway, all that to say, most of you have already done this, but if you have not yet done this week, I'm going to ask you to show me that you've invested 10 years in your 401k. And the reason I want to make sure you've done that in your RightCapital plan this week, the reason I want to make sure you've done that is because this week your assignment is to play with your asset allocation. And I would love to show you how to do that. If what I'll probably do is just post an older video where my iPad was working, and you can scrub through that real quick on YouTube in the playlist and see me showing you how to play with asset allocation. It's super easy in your RightCapital dashboard. I'm so sorry I can't show you. I don't know why my iPad's not letting me show you, but I'm going to try it one more time just to see. Actually, what I'm going to do, I'm going to play this little video and I'm going to go, I'll be right back. I'm going to play with something on my iPad. Give me a minute. Okay, that was that. So that didn't work. I thought that let me see. I'm playing with my iPad. Oh, there we go. Maybe holding my breath. Yeah, look at that. I fixed it. Okay, hooray for me. I should play some applause right now. I think somewhere in there I have some. Yeah, let me just try this. Pretty cool, huh? That I can do that. It's pretty goofy, pretty cheesy. I know it is. Okay, so I had to just plug my cable in. Instead of being plugged into my docking station, I plugged it right into my MacBook. That solved the problem. So this is what I've been showing you, the retirement calculator. And if you click on the link, I think it takes us to NerdWallet. Yeah, NerdWallet. That's a good one. You can use, again, any one you want, but this is a retirement calculator. and it's super easy. You can see right here the inputs that you have: your current age, annual pre-tax income, your current retirement savings. And for you, I would encourage you to use your current savings. So pretending that you're 10 years older, that's what I would do if I were you. You can do it however you want. You can, if you want a real number from your retirement calculator. But what I would try to do is sync it up with your existing RightCapital plan. And that means pretend you're 10 years older and then do your retirement calculator that way. But anyway, these are the inputs: your current age, your annual income, your current retirement savings, your monthly contributions, uh, and your monthly budget in retirement. Like, how much are you going to spend in retirement? These are all, by the way, elements of your RightCapital plan. This is just a quick, down and dirty way to calculate your retirement, and then any other retirement income. So that's that. I want to jump into, I think this is Billy. Yes, this is Billy. Uh, I got to log in again. Hold on. I'm going to get you out of here so you can't see what I'm doing, because otherwise you'll see all my clients, and that's not good. So I'm logging into RightCapital just like you would. And once I log in, I'm going to jump into Billy's plan. You only have one plan. I have hundreds. So I'm going to get Billy and find Billy, because Billy is my guy. He's what I call my Frankenstein plan. So now we should be able to show you Billy. I think my internet's running slow. Did I mention that? I can't blame that on the neighbors, but that does seem to be. Okay, so let's see. Now we can do a number of things here for asset allocation. I want to show you how you can play with asset allocation in your plan. So notice here we've got the upper and lower navigation. We've got the dashboard on the left, upper navigation, and profile on the right, upper navigation. And then under that, we have the lower navigation. So in the middle, we have retirement. And this is in the upper navigation, retirement. It's my favorite place to go in the plan. You will want to do that. So let's just go action items. Okay, you see this action items right here at the bottom. I guess there you go. If you click on action items, it goes away when I click on it. But if I click on it again, it shows you all these action items. When I'm working on a financial plan for a client, this is where I spend, I'd say, a lot of my time. So you can do the same thing here. So Billy, this is what I want you to see. You have all of these different portfolios, way too many portfolios. I think, oh, I know what I did. I use another tool called Riskalyze or Nitrogen, and it does really cool portfolio performance metrics. It's an awesome piece of technology. But what I've done is I have all these marketplace portfolios, and they've integrated into RightCapital, and that's not necessary for you. So all you really need to notice is the top ones. These are the standard basic portfolios. So you've got your current allocation, and let's just go, I'm going to go current allocation, and then I'm going to hit refresh. Now, what that means is current allocation is whatever your allocation is, that's what it's going to be. That's what that's the standard, the default. But what I want you to do now is when you go to retirement, right there, and you're in these, you've got all these different tabs. I want you to just go down to the action items, and the top right, strategies, asset allocation. That's your job this week, is to play with asset allocation. So you're just going to click on that, and let's just go to preservation. Don't forget, when you do that, when you change anything in this action item, you have to hit refresh. So there you have it. We hit refresh. I'm going to turn off this and get it out of the way. So when we hit refresh, did it change anything in Billy's probability of success, I wouldn't worry about that. Billy's plan is, well, it's a Frankenstein plan, and I'm not sure if it changed anything or not. But what I want to do is go, now I'm just going to go to aggressive, and I'm going to hit refresh and see if that changes from a 60%. It doesn't. So that's because I wouldn't worry about that. That's because Billy's plan is a mess. But your plan, that's what I'm interested in. So this week in your assignment, you're going to do your retirement calculator, and you're going to show me that. You're also going to do your asset allocation. You're going to play around with your portfolio in RightCapital. And this is where I would encourage you to do that, to do it right here. There's other places you could do it, but this is the easiest way for you to do it. And just change that from your current allocation and show me what happens if you go into different allocations. So I just did growth. Now I'm refreshing and it's still not changing. Again, Billy's plan it's a wreck. And I don't even know why it's not changing, but I really just wanted to show you how to go into your plan and change your asset allocation so that you can see how that impacts your plan. And when I say impacts your plan, what we're looking at is what is the ending value of your plan. These numbers are ridiculous in Billy's plan, so I wouldn't pay any attention to those. I would definitely pay attention to the ending values in your plans, though, because that's the screenshot I'm looking for from you. I want a before and after, like your current plan, take a screenshot. If I took a screenshot of this, I would just take my iPad and I would take a screenshot, and then I could go done and I could save it to photos, and now I would have that in my photos. And where is it? Right there. So now I have that image, and I would take that and I would put it in my PDF from whatever tool you're using your to create your document before you export your document to a PDF. Just take that screenshot, but take a before and then take an after. So you're going to take the current allocation and take a screenshot and then change it. I would go to aggressive. Let's see what happens if we go to most aggressive. I'm really about ready to give up on Billy's plan. I need to go in and just redo it. But if you notice, it did change that number to a larger number. So anyway, so what we have is the proposed plan. That's what's going to happen on in your dashboard. You're going to see the proposed plan. That's anything we change in these action items. So current allocation is there on the right. That's the current plan. And then the proposed plan, that's what's going to change right there. So just do that in your plan and uh, take screenshots. So that's really your assignment this week. You're going to play with your asset allocation and show me screenshots. The second thing you're going to do, and maybe not in this order, but you're going to do the retirement calculator. Make sure you grab a screenshot, or if it's a PDF, you can just grab the whole PDF and show me what you did to create your retirement calculator. And by all means, share with me what you learned in doing that exercise as well. Don't forget this week's secret class collaboration. It is the purpose of your retirement calculator. I talked about that earlier. So if you missed it, rewind, go back to the beginning, and maybe turn off Netflix and listen again to that instruction at the very beginning. It was 10 minutes after the hour when I talked about this week's class collaboration. So please do go back and watch that. And I want to wish you the very best of luck as you jump into this week's assignment. We're getting close to the end of the semester, very close to the capstone assignment. So next week, I will talk about tax allocation, and we will talk about the capstone assignment as well. I want to give you guys an opportunity to request assistance with your capstone if you want my help. Just I'll share with you next week the process for requesting a tutorial where I will put together a video tutorial to help you answer any questions you have as you prepare to work on your capstone. The only thing I ask is your permission to share that video with the cohort. So if you have a question, I'm sure others have the same question. So that's a way we can collaborate, and I want to encourage you to think about your questions as you get ready closer to the capstone assignment. The capstone assignment is really just a combination of all of the assignments you've done this semester. You're going to put it all together in one report and basically repeat each of the elements that you did. Like, you're going to do the credit crush assignment. It's basically, if you did that correctly, you're just going to take your screenshots from that assignment and put them into your capstone assignment. So it will be all of the major pieces of the puzzle in your financial plan that we worked on throughout the semester. It's really not a difficult assignment, but it's a lot of information. So again, if you are feeling somewhat intimidated by the capstone assignment, just start thinking about your questions. And if you want some help, I'm happy to do a tutorial video for you. I just want you to share your permission with me to let us use that tutorial for the rest of the cohort. That's usually a very helpful process, so I hope you'll think about it. I think I'm going to end right there, and look forward to reviewing your assignments. And I think I'm pretty caught up in my queue, except for this week. This week's assignment obviously is still in the queue, and I will get to those as quickly as possible. So have a great week. Enjoy the cool weather that we have coming to Houston. I'm so ready for it. Being in Lansing was quite a nice experience. Not just the leaves changing colors, but the temperature was fantastic. I'm trying to get to, well, uh, I'm having some slow internet. So on the screen there, you see that it was like 55 degrees right there. It was fantastic. And it's it was a beautiful day to be in the Northeast. It was like 95 degrees here. So I'm hoping we get some cool weather uh, coming our way. I think we are supposed to tonight. And I'm looking forward to getting on my Goldwing motorcycle and taking a ride in the cool evening tonight. So we'll see you later. Have a great week. Thanks for watching. And don't forget, if you're just if you're just finding this video on YouTube, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. It doesn't cost you anything, and you might learn something, and it really helps the channel, and I appreciate it. So if you haven't done that, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, do me a favor. And again, it doesn't cost you anything, and I appreciate it a lot. Thank you.